Hi, I'm James with TVS Pro, doing another unboxing and kind of an initial setup video, this time on the Inspire 2. If you saw one of my previous videos where I was invited to go to the live event and release of this copter,
including ones on the side and the rear,
then you were able to see kind of a first look and up close and personal look of the design and whatnot. But there's just something cool about getting your own and getting the box here, actually, maybe because you're actually able to power it on and go flying with it, play with it. So it's exciting stuff. As I mentioned, we're gonna unbox this, show you what it looks like and what you're gonna get inside the box and what you need to know to get it set up. Few different changes of how to get it out of travel mode and the dual battery slots, and then go through the app and that initial setup through there. And then at the end of this video, we're gonna close out with some sample footage provided from a good friend of ours, James Allred with Showcase Films. Maybe you've seen some of his stuff. He's one of the best aerial cinematographers that I know of in this area, and he lives in a neck of our woods anyways, a really beautiful place, got some great scenery, got some good sunset type of shots, using the Inspire 2 with the X5S camera. And it is unfortunately not in the Cinema DNG or Apple ProRes codecs because, as you'll see, it does not come with those SSDs or the Cine Station that you need to be able to read that SSD through a computer. Those are a la carte, and you may not even need to purchase those if you haven't purchased the licenses that can come in the premium combo. This is that premium combo. And I've also added the X5S that is in this box. When you purchase it, that will be an a la carte type of a thing. So you'd have your Inspire 2 and in a separate box your camera. But for this purpose, I've actually included that camera already inside there. So without any further ado, let's jump right in. First, when you open up the cardboard box that this case is in, then you're going to see this, and it doesn't actually fit inside this case. It just is on the outside of it here. You're gonna have some manuals and some quick start guides and things like that. The only reason why I wanna mention this is because as you open this up, you're going to have some cables and tools for powering, some spare tools. These are spare clips on your motors. And then you've got, they actually include some stickers, insulator stickers, with some letters on there that you can throw onto your batteries. Now, what is really cool, and we have yet to test this, I haven't even really flown this thing yet, but they are self-heating elements inside those batteries. So at this time of year, because it's January, last night I think our low temp was around 4 degrees. You really need to pay attention to that, but these new Inspire 2 batteries will really help out with that. And then you've got your power cable, AC adapter for your power supply. And this is not something to throw away. This is actually really kind of nice. If you have ever done your obstacle avoidance and vision positioning system sensor calibrations, this is what you are going to use. This is a really nice slate. It feels and looks like glass. And it's got some nice rubber protected corners there on the side, so you'd hold it like this. Why would you use this? Well, in the previous versions, when you're doing those calibrations on a Phantom 4 or any of those models of the Phantom 4 and the Mavic, and now with the Inspire 2, you have to do that in front of a computer, and you're holding that system in front of a computer screen, navigating those dots and whatever else. Well, if you're out and about hiking on a shoot or wherever it is on location, and you don't have access to that software on a computer, now you can travel with this guy and be able to do those calibrations on location wherever you're at. So don't throw that away. It is a kind of a nice thing that they've added to there. I'm gonna get these things here out of the way. And now get into the box. I might preface that we've now just shot this, just opening it up 3 times. This is the 3rd take. And now that it's the 3rd take, I feel like I should mention it. As you're undoing these clips, and I do like this case a lot more than the previous one. You don't actually have to depress these to clip them. You just push and it goes in. And the handle up in front is a spring-loaded handle, kind of nice. I kind of wish it was padded, like the Phantom 4 condensed foam case, but hey, it still works. Like I said, I still like it. But what I want to point out are motors up in the front of the copter. I don't know why, I don't have the time to figure it out now, but as I see it's doing it again, as I pick this up, those motors are kind of stuck up inside there, and I picked it up once and the whole copter came up with it. So I'm just now pointing that out to you. Your copter these motors may just stick to in the holes that they have there. I don't know, I'll have to play with that later, but hey, now we've pointed it out. First thing I want to point out, I love that they went to this type of a system, because all of you who had an Inspire 1 and those Velcro straps that held those props in there, those always came undone. They never stuck or anything. Now they've got this new kind of plastic arm. You push down and it slides over. Easy enough on both sides. Push down, slide over, and now I can take out that bag. I've got 4 props inside there, and then I just slide it back over, push down, and let it lock. And there you go. I'm gonna flip this back over actually, and we're gonna use that as our stand on my nifty turntable. There, it's a little wobbly, but for our purposes, it'll work. Okay, I'm gonna pull out these props, and everything, as you unbox this and take note, everything has gone to this really kind of cool matte black finish. Some of it obviously gray and silver. Really, really cool. These are about 2 inches longer than the predecessor props, and they are much fatter and at a steeper angle. These are super, super high performance. I believe they are 1550s. I believe they're talking about the degree, and then 15 represents the length. And the other ones were 1345s. So you are 2 inches longer and about 5 degrees steeper. Really kind of a high performance prop there. First thing I'm gonna pull out is my copter, and I'm just gonna set it right there on top of the box, and that works. As I mentioned previous, this camera will not be inside this box, but that is where it fits. If you have the X5S, this is the way that box is gonna look. They've kind of added this new leather strap. I mean, it just kind of looks nice. And just in case this one comes undone, it does add an extra measure of protecting that case from just flopping open. So it looks kind of nice and expensive, and you know, it gives it that, like, I don't know what you're going for, Las Vegas shopping, high-end, whatever type of look, but there it is. And inside there obviously is the camera. You've got your 2 cases, or lens caps I should say, and the way that this new mount is designed and the way it locks the caps and the way it locks onto this copter, much, much better improved, okay? But before we can attach that camera, we've got to get this out of travel mode. The old way of putting the copter in and out of travel mode was you had to take your landing gear switch, once I get this out and unfolded, take your landing gear switch here and cycle that 4 times. You had to power this on, power the copter on, cycle it 4 times. It was a little bit annoying. And you had to then power the copter back off and attach the camera. Now, the radio does not have to be on. Once you've installed your batteries, you tap this top button 5 times and it kicks it on and takes it out of travel mode all at the same time. And there is a much longer delay in when that camera responds once you get it locked onto there. So you don't have to power it back off to put the camera on there. Super, super handy. Nothing is really new about this radio except 2 additions that I may add. One, the first off you're gonna notice is the mount. The reinforced mount for this, much, much stronger. It will really hold this in there tight. But everything else about this design, as far as the size of what it can hold, an iPad in out of a case, but a full-size iPad will fit in there, and if you're using a phone, then those clips will go in there as well. And then the second thing I want to mention is that they have gone out of the mini HDMI port that was in there, and now they have gone to a full-size HDMI port. So no more having to worry about adapting that into then a cable and running it from there. Kind of nice, okay? So there is my radio. Your power supply is going to fit over here on the left, and then you've got your CAN hub. And the reason why or not your CAN hub, but your battery hub. The reason why that they've included this in there is because it comes with 2 batteries that they've got over here in the front. You plug this in from the little port on top with your power supply, and then you push any one of these 4 buttons and that door opens, but you'll need to pull that door all the way down into its locking position in order to get the battery in there. And the battery does lock in there, so to release it, you have to push that top button as well. Kind of handy, okay? Just like the previous hubs, it does not charge simultaneously, but in succession, okay? Pull these 2 batteries out. Really easily defined as far as how they go into the bird. You've got your ports right here on the side and 2 tracks, so it just slides in. Before I'm able to do that, on the battery port of the battery ports of the Inspire 2, you have to remove these rubber caps that are on there, and you can keep those if you want. But just to keep you aware, if you're trying to force that battery onto there and you're wondering why it won't fit, it's because you got to remove those, okay? Same rules apply. I've got my button right here. If I press that, it's going to show me my battery life. Line up those tracks, and it just is a firm press in until you hear it click, and you'll see the release button. You've got 2 buttons now up top. One is the power button, and one is the release. That button is found right next to the obstacle avoidance sensors that are on top of the copter. Now, yay, happy that they've done that with the Inspire 2. And then same thing, just line up those tracks and push it all the way in firmly. What we have found, if you are flying with dual batteries, you will get the longest single flight time. So you'd be able to get the most distance out of it. We have been able to get roughly about 20 minutes out of this guy. But if you fly 1 battery at a time, then you're going to get roughly, at least in our neck of the woods, and this is in January, it's super cold, and at our altitude here of Salt Lake City, you're going to get roughly 13 minutes per battery. And they are hot swappable, so you can just remove 1 battery, fly it with the 1 battery, put this other battery back in, and then release this other battery without a problem. So they are hot swappable, so you don't have to power anything off actually. But 13 minutes each battery, you're gonna be able to get 26 minutes, so you have a longer shoot and longer recording time, but your individual flights, if that makes sense. So you won't get the distance that you need if you fly with the 2, because you'd be able to get a longer single flight, 20 minutes versus 26. Hope that makes sense. But now that I've got those batteries in there, this is the best part. All I have to do is press this, and as I do this, actually I'm going to turn it back around so hopefully you can see these lights here. As I press it, you're going to see it go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then that 5th press actually activates it, and you'll see it come out of travel mode and power on. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can see those lights go up, and now it stays on, and it just goes into there. I have noticed it is a much stronger motor. You've got rubber pads and this that kind of act as a skid, but it actually pulls those in pretty well. It is a much stronger landing gear motor that's in there. It's beeping and flashing yellow because I don't have a radio on. I am going to now power that guy on just to keep it happy and stop the beeping. That's gone green. My flashing on the yellow has gone out. And now I'm going to power, or actually connect, my X5S. Really simple, actually so much better. These caps, no more guesswork and stuff like that of how this goes on there. It's visibly really clear how to do there. It actually has a number 1 right where it needs to go, and you just twist it and you can feel it lock. Now, on the copter, you've got a release button here on the side, if you can see this. Get my finger right there. I do have to press this down so that I can twist it. But again, it is, oh my heavens, it is so much easier. I'm having a hard time angling this. Let me angle this over this way and get this right. So you can see actually how easy this is. I mean, it's awesome. So much better of a design. Same kind of three-pronged, where that front prong is thicker than the two on the sides, but the way it twists and locks, so much better, so much better. And again, you're gonna notice I do not have this powered off when I attach this camera. And I wanted you to see the top of this mount as well, so you can see how different those pins are. In some of the predecessor systems, those pins were exposed, and at times those pins would get damaged and things like that, damaging the copter and needing repair or replacement. But now they've got them closed and really much more protected than previously. So all I have to do, you've got a red dot, and those red dots have to line up, and that indicate a lock. But before I do that, I've got to attach this white part and then just twist it on over. Hard at an angle. Twist it, and look how much time it gives you to settle that down before it actually starts its dance. So again, no worries about having to power this off in order to get that camera attached onto there. And I am ready to go. The other thing that I want to point out on here that I am really excited about is this stabilized 2-axis front-facing camera. As a second operator, you will be able to have the pilot control of where this tilts, and it is, like I mentioned, a 2-axis gimbal that's on there, stabilized from the roll and the tilt, and that will definitely improve how the pilot and the camera operator communicate. That remote for that camera operator has to be purchased separately. However, just as an indication or a note, as you saw, it just comes with the one remote. So now we're going to dive into some of the app setup. Okay, now that I've got everything set up and ready with my iPad mini into my controller, we're going to dive in just a little bit on that app. It's not a full instruction video. If you want, we've got a Phantom 4 full instruction video that will give you a really in-depth look at that app, and a lot of that information that I go over there is cross-platform with the Inspire 2. I just want to show you some of the brief new features, especially with that FPV camera up front and the app. Before I do that, I had forgotten to show you on the props how these will go in. If you're familiar with the 1345T props on the predecessor, very similar. You've got red and white, just match the colors, so white and white fits onto there, and then it's the same twist to lock it, but you have to pinch it. There's some spring-loaded levers there, and it is a good firm twist to get that to lock. That's not gonna fly off of there anytime soon. Really an improved design. So now that we're ready for the app, you're gonna go into the DJI Go 4 app. That's a pretty new app, released pretty close to when the Mavic came out. That's gonna be your home screen there. I can see on the bottom left that I am connected. As a quick note, those tabs at the bottom, make sure that you are logged in. We've seen some problems with firmware updates and stuff like that before if you aren't logged in. Plus, any of your information on the flight log won't be saved on their cloud if you aren't logged in as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and touch my Go Fly, and that will take us into the home screen. The first thing that I noticed right off the bat when I opened this was the bottom right-hand side, that new FPV camera. So now you've got that picture-in-picture kind of going on. We're out of focus. Let me see if I can't focus onto, there you go, you can get my U of U jacket there. That is a much quicker autofocus if you didn't catch that either. You'll notice up on the top right-hand side, you've got those dual batteries there. All the same rules apply with the previous battery, now with just dual. And then on the left side, you've still got that remote control symbol so you can go into the intelligent flight modes. We've got a pretty popular intelligent flight modes video that we produced about a year ago, and since that time, there's a bunch of new modes like after track, tap fly, tripod, terrain follow. Stay tuned in the next week or two. I'll have the Mavic as well as the Phantom 4 Pro and the Inspire 2 to give you some step-by-step instructions on all those new intelligent flight modes, kind of a part 2 to that previous video that we made. So if you haven't already, please subscribe and be watching for that video to come up. Real quick, the next feature I want to show you on that picture-in-picture, bottom right-hand side of that window, you've got a plus and a minus. That is going to just increase the size of that window. That is as large as I can make it and still keep it in that bottom right-hand corner, and then I can decrease that size as well. If I touch the top left side, it just pulls it right in there, front and center, and you can still see behind it the X5S or cinema camera for recording, and then your FPV camera there in front of it. Now, that camera up in front is nothing spectacular. In fact, as I show you some of these other features with it, it's actually horrible. I don't know if it's the optics or processing, whatever it is, but that's not what it's designed for. Its design is just for reference for the pilot. For this purposes, it's perfect, okay? I'm gonna touch the bottom right hand of that window, and I'm gonna touch up at the top kind of middle, that radio symbol. And as I scroll all the way down there, I've previously customized my C1, C2 buttons to what they are now. I'm not gonna read that, you can pause it and look at it. But what I've done then, if I hit my C2 button, I can quickly get that window up in the middle of my screen. And now if I hit my C1 button, I can go to a downward 45, back straight in the middle. So I can quickly go back and forth between those two. And you can see as it's exposing, it's not the greatest of cameras, but again, just for reference. So we want to thank you for watching, and if you haven't already, please subscribe. We want to close out with some sample footage from James Allred. Thank you again, James, a showcase film. This is going to be 4K footage on the X5S camera, and it was shot in 4K, 24 frames per second at an H.264, 100 megabits per second codec. That's a mouthful. Hope you enjoy it. If you've got some questions and I can help answer some of those basic troubleshooting questions, feel free to leave some comments and I'll get to those as best I can, or you're welcome to shoot me an email at jamesb@tvspec.com. Thanks again for watching. Good luck. Happy flying.